Season 5, Episode 62 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Jonathan Linskin, as always, joined by Sam Fetterman to my right. Sam, how are you? We had quite the night of college basketball.
You see.
Oh.
And you got. Oh my God, the Huskies needed that so bad after last Friday. Go on the road, black jerseys. Haven't won in those jerseys in 2 years.
Is that a real stat?
Yes.
That's awesome.
You go there, never won in Omaha. Black jerseys, down 15 in the first half. Liam McNeely is the greatest player in the history of college basketball.
So yeah, let's just jump right into it. UConn goes on the road and defeats the Creighton Blue Jays by a score of 70-66. It was the freshman Liam McNeely, who has recently come back from injury, poured in 38 points, had 10 rebounds, hit 5 of UConn's 6 threes, was basically unguardable for most of this game, and UConn gets a much-needed and maybe the biggest win of their season on the road in a place that UConn has never won before. Dan Hurley has had his troubles with Greg McDermott and Creighton, but he outcoaches them down the stretch tonight. And Sam, this feels like it could be a needle-moving win for UConn.
I agree, Jonathan. This is a needle mover. 2 needle movers on the road in the last week or so. You get the Marquette game. That one felt like an aberration just because of the way they shot this game. You get ground into a struggle shooting-wise. You find a way. Regardless of that, you go down big. Officiating crew, just not a good officiating crew. Groover, Gaffney, Morrissey, and I thought they officiated a pretty bad game on both sides. But UConn was the tougher team. They were the better coached team, and they were the more disciplined team, and they had the best player on the floor.
Yeah, unbelievable performance. I agree with everything you just said. It was strange because, UConn did not play, Hassan Diarra a ton tonight.
Well, he's banged up.
He is banged up. They did not play him a ton tonight. He's their starting point guard, and yet they go in on the road. Big still getting in foul trouble, and they fight back in the second half when Creighton looked like they had the chance to put the game away, and they didn't. It was Liam McNeely. He is so great to me for a couple of different reasons, and it's reasons that we said about him over the summer when we did our freshman preview. It's things that you and I have seen for, a couple years now since his name has really gotten on people's radar. Liam McNeely is such a smart basketball player above all else. They deferred to him so many times tonight. And do I think Creighton could have guarded him better? Of course. He had 38 points. It would be foolish to say otherwise. But one of the great things about Liam McNeely is he's such a high IQ player, and he's so good at picking his spots. Liam McNeely had the ball a ton of times tonight and only turned it over twice as a freshman on the road in a really tough environment.
Now, Creighton doesn't turn teams over.
No, but Liam just did such a good job tonight picking his spots. He would take it out when he needed to. He wouldn't try to drive gaps that weren't there. His shot selection was great. He would punish you when you went under screens. He would punish you in drop coverage if you went over it. It was the full Liam McNeely experience at its peak tonight.
Jonathan, freshman in the last 21 seasons of college basketball with at least 38 and 10 on the road against a top 25 opponent. Michael Beasley, Cade Cunningham, Liam McNeely. It's a 3-person list.
And one of those did it in front of no fans, essentially.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Cade, who is one of my favorite college basketball players.
Unreal player that year.
On the Creighton side of things, you have a team that's hot that, they drop a game. It was going to happen. Creighton had won 9 in a row coming in here. That included a win
That was the
over
Oklahoma
Marquette.
game, right?
What'd you say?
That was the Oklahoma game, right? For
What do you
Cade.
mean? Creighton had not lost since January 3rd when they went to Marquette.
I said for Cade.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he had 40 and 11.
I remember that game.
And that game went to overtime.
Yeah. But Creighton comes in tonight winning 9 in a row. That included a win at UConn, a win at Villanova.
This Oklahoma rotation is hilarious. I'm not going to read it, but I'll send it to you. Just go.
Okay. Creighton had, like I said, Creighton had won 9 in a row. They come in tonight. It was the biggest home game of the season for Creighton. They acted like it. Their fans were hyped on Twitter. It was setting up to be a great night of Creighton basketball, and UConn just came in and spoiled it. You know, you got nice contributions from Neal, Kalkbrenner, Ashworth had his moments, but the Blue Jays did not shoot the ball well from 3. They finished just 7 of 24. It wasn't a totally disaster night from Creighton because Fedor Zujic, who's been really quiet all season ever since he was cleared and deemed eligible, he kind of got it going late and made some real winning plays down the stretch that almost got Creighton over the finish line. But I really thought that in the last 4 minutes, it was about Dan Hurley being a better coach in that segment than Greg McDermott was.
Dan Hurley being the best coach in college basketball, as he's been saying.
Yeah, he'll let you know about it. That's for sure. Creighton coming up has St. John's on the road this weekend. The Blue Jays were trending in the right direction, but it's now a real possibility they drop two in a row, and that probably puts you back to like a 7, 8 seed at best. And then the schedule from there on out really isn't nothing to write home about. You have Georgetown at home, DePaul at home, Xavier on the road, Seton Hall on the road, Butler at home. There's one game in there before the Big East tournament. So if Creighton can't get it done at St. John's this weekend, what they are from a resume perspective, it just kind of is what they're going to be. Anything else, Sam?
Alex Caravan is in the worst slump I've ever seen him play.
Do you just think it's a slump? Do you think there's something wrong with?
It has to be a slump.
Like I watch him tonight. I don't think he's making bad decisions. I don't think he's doing.
I think the shots just aren't falling.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing the wrong things. I just think he's in a bad shooting slump. He's shooting 34% from 3 on the season.
You know that Kevin Durant graphic from Thunderstruck?
Yes,
that's been him.
He's shooting 28% from 3 in conference. That's so uncharacteristic for him.
4 for 37 last 7 games.
Alex Caravan's marks in conference his first 2 years at UConn have been 43% and 40%, rounding up.
Yep.
So
he was one of the best shooters in college basketball last year. He's the 3rd best shooter on his team this year.
Yeah, there's something going on with him, and as good as Liam McNeely is, if he gets back to Alex Caravan, then UConn's ceiling is changed.
Completely.
All right, let's move.
Go ahead.
Let's move to what is going on tonight in Lexington, Kentucky, who had lost 4 out of 6 coming into the game, gets a massive, massive home win, sweeping Tennessee on the season. It was a bunch of guys that contributed for the Cats, but the main story to me, Sam, was they get 11 from Trent Noah off the bench, and they get 8 from Travis Perry off the bench. That included 5 threes between the two. The freshmen had their moments, as well as other guys, but Kentucky needed this win really, really badly.
Those are Kentucky kids. This means a lot to them. Coming in a big spot, getting some big plays, and it swung the game. You could really feel the crowd getting behind Trent Noah, getting behind Travis Perry. I think there's a thing, like Kentucky fans love the Kentucky kid. And you haven't really heard, like, Rupp was kind of docile this weekend against South Carolina. I felt today when Noah and Perry were hitting shots, it felt like Rupp Arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brea hit a couple really timely threes.
And yes, Kentucky also has the best shooter in college basketball.
Yeah, he hit a couple really timely threes in this game. It wasn't the best night efficiency-wise for Otega away, but he had his moments as well. Ansley Almanor has been I wouldn't call him like a glue guy for this Kentucky team, but like he's certainly picked his spots. He's been efficient when given the opportunity. He's obviously, not the first choice in this rotation and would kind of be more buried in the rotation if Jackson Robinson was healthy. But, he had a great night. And this is a guy that, like, his choices in the portal were Siena or Kentucky. And
well, he visited Tulsa as well.
But regardless, Kentucky, was the only school even close to that caliber recruiting him.
Pope said on his radio show that he didn't even reach out to Almanor. Almanor reached out to him.
And Pope just took him?
Well, I mean, he watched the film.
Yeah.
But Pope is a very generous guy. He's not just handing out scholarships like candy.
But yeah, he's kind of been the Tennessee killer this year. He had 12 a couple weeks ago when the Cats went to Knoxville, and now he has 13 at home in the big win. He accepted kind of this smaller role, knowingly going to Kentucky, and he's made the most of it. And I think he's been an effective player for them. He's number 1 in the conference right now in offensive rating this year, top 20 in turnover rate as well. He just you put him in and he does the right things. He
knows what it is.
Yes, you put him in and he does the right things.
And I mean, just speaking from having watched him play at FDU for a couple of years, like he always made things look really simple, even when they weren't. But he was doing so much that it was hard to even like think of him in a scaled down role, even though you knew it would really work out.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. We have to talk about at least mention that Lamont Butler did get hurt again in this game and did not return. I don't believe for Kentucky. They need him if Kentucky wants to reach their potential. Hopefully, it's not serious, but he's battled injuries. Feels like all.
Yeah, we're not gonna play doctor here.
Yeah, we're not gonna speculate here. Not gonna do that. Let's go to... any thoughts on the Tennessee side of this?
I feel like we've kind of run the Tennessee angle into the ground over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I just like Zakai has been one of my favorites in college basketball since his freshman year when he was coming off the bench behind Kennedy Chandler. But I just wish that he was a good enough shooter that he wouldn't be so hesitant sometimes. Like he would get switches tonight that he could fully take advantage of, and guys like Amari Williams would sag off of him and he would just be very hesitant to shoot it. I know he takes a little time to get it off, but I just wish he was a better shooter than he is.
I do too.
It feels like that would really.
I saw it on a couple of possessions this game. I wasn't watching this game entirely because I was watching 7 other games, but yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to go too much into Tennessee. They have been a frequent topic on our show this year. Let's go to Michigan, Purdue. This is, a really big win for Michigan because it puts them in first place in the conference. And a really big win for Michigan because it just elevates they've been really good at home this year. But Purdue was also had their bright spots in this game. Braden Smith was once again fantastic. Trey Kaufman,
best point guard in the country,
quite easily. And
I don't want to hear nothing about no Ryan.
No, we're done with that. We're done with that. But yeah, it was really a bunch of things for Michigan that I thought got it done today. Danny Wolf has had his kind of good and bad Danny Wolf in conference. but we got good Danny Wolf tonight. He had 15 points. He had 9 rebounds, couple of assists, couple of blocks. And then Roddy Gale.
Ridiculous 3.
And then, like, I forget who mentioned this. It actually may have been Wolverine Corner, our guy. He mentioned that I think Roddy Gale moving to the bench was like a perfect push of the button by Dusty May this year because it's taken the pressure off of him and has just made him a better player. He had 14 points tonight. He made 5 field goals. He had 7 rebounds. He was really essential in the comeback for Michigan, who was down in the second half and early in this game. So Michigan doesn't really have a guy that is going to go out and score 25 for you like Purdue has on some nights. But
I mean TKR can absolutely do that.
Yeah, but Michigan has a bunch of guys
averaging like 20 and less.
Like 4 weeks. Michigan's just a really well connected team. They make shots, they make threes. They obviously have one of the more.
They really do remind me of that FAU team.
Yeah, they just, they're like the way they play is tough to guard, which is what we always said about that FAU team. They know when to attack. They're well
and they play hard on both ends. They math ball on both sides. Dusty makes so much sense. The way he plays offense is the opposite of what he wants you to do on defense.
Yeah, sure. I really like that analysis. And then
I don't like. There's plenty of coaches that do that. I don't think there's anybody in this sport more effective at what's the word? I don't think there's anybody in the sport that is more effective at flipping the identities and forcing you to play the exact opposite of how his team wants to play offensively on the other end of the floor.
Yeah, and just think about watching FAU. Think about when you watched FAU in 2023. Just there were so many guys that were like, oh, like, hey, he could go score 10 points for you on any given night. And he's going to make a contribution and make an impact on this game in one way or another. That's what it feels like Michigan has. Even Reuben Jones, who has not had a very good year, went out and scored 6 points tonight, had a couple of really key buckets down the stretch. It's FAU didn't have a guy that was going to play 90% of the minutes when Dusty was there and completely take over every single game. It was, drawing the attention to one guy, and then another guy makes a play, and then another guy steps up, and another guy hits a 3. That's kind of like what this Michigan
I think that team led the country in extra passes.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what this Michigan team has become.
Although different because of the 4-5 pick and roll.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah, they're doing it with different positions. Where that FAU team was more guard and wing oriented. I think this game made me feel even better than I kind of already did about Purdue. Just because I don't think they played super well tonight. I don't think they got a great whistle tonight. I thought they went into a place that has been really tough to win this year. And I think they played really well for about 35 minutes. And then, they had a bad stretch at the end of the first half, bad stretch at the end of the second half. That ended up being the difference. But they have a point guard who can absolutely take over a game. They have a big who, in that scheme, the way they get him the ball is pretty much unstoppable, and they have shooters. Anything else to add?
Not really. I kind of want to go quickly over some of the other games, though. I don't really want to stay here very long.
Okay.
But
you take the lead here, then.
I want to talk about George Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Have we even talked George Mason at all this year?
I feel like we've mentioned them, but the in-depth analysis of them has been shallow at best.
Tony Skinn has the Patriots at 20-5, 10 wins in a row, the nation's second longest active winning streak, 11-1 in the A10, and it's all on the back of the number 15 defense in the country, which is like this is a root canal team.
Mhm.
This is a unique team because of how many excellent defenders they have at all levels. And I think they might just be the best. They're one of the best on-ball defensive teams in the country.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I watch them, they are forcing a long possession, they're not letting you drive on them. It's not just Katie Johnson and Jared Billups and Braden O'Connor. And then it's the front court with Woody Newton and Jalen Haynes and Gio Emejeru. Darius Maddox is their leading scorer. They're a deeper team, and I just think that watching them play, they have a little bit of that St. John's in them, where it feels like it's impossible to score on some possessions.
I think George Mason and Tony Skinn really has built what a lot of coaches would call like an ideal half-court defense. You have a rim protector and Jalen Haynes inside who's very good in there, despite being only 6'8". You have guys that pressure the ball and do a really good job closing out shots. You know, they force turnovers. They don't do it at like an elite rate, but they do force turnovers, and it's just like you said, it's just so tough to get great shots off against them, and they bring it every single possession.
And tonight, Woody Newton drops 27 points.
He scored like 14 in a row, didn't he?
Yeah, I think this is a career high. And this is, by the way, Woody Newton's been playing college basketball for a long time. This is year 5. He started at Syracuse. So there are my thoughts on Syracuse. Woody Newton started there. And he hit 8 threes tonight. Coming into today, he'd hit 9 threes in conference play. He hit 8 tonight. So I'm not gonna I don't. This game doesn't make me feel any worse about St. Louis. If anything, it honestly makes me feel a little bit better that hey, they put up 1.07 points per possession against a team that gives up that had only given up more than 1 point per possession like 3 times this year. And they almost won. They almost came back and figured it out with no depth. Like this is the thinnest team in the country in terms of bench minutes. They do not have depth right now with Kellen Thames being out, and they haven't figured that situation out yet. Dylan Warlick, Amari McCautry, and Max Picar are their bench contributors right now. They played a combined 15 minutes tonight. This game went to overtime. So there were 45 times 5, make that 225 minutes. 15 of them were played by the bench.
Amari McCautry is a guy who I like his long.
I like McCautry.
His long-term potential is really intriguing, but I'm not sure he's quite ready to be like
not
a
even close
maker on the offensive end right now.
Not even close to ready. They need KT back.
They really do, and I know that situation is like still kind of being figured out, and he's not really expected to play for I think the foreseeable future was the words they used. But that like this A10 tournament is going to be super fun as it always is. Just a couple quick notes, Sam, before you get into anything else. Texas A&M rallied tonight in the second half like nothing you've ever seen before. I think Georgia.
I think I've seen something like that before.
Georgia legit missed like 12 straight shots. It was a heck of a defensive performance in College Station from Buzz Williams' team. A true Texas A&M grit win for the Aggies. Auburn was kind of in the balance for a little bit, but pulled away eventually at Vanderbilt. Chad Baker Mazzara was banged up, only he ended up playing 28 minutes, but scored 0 points. He's clearly not 100%, and other guys stepped up in his absence, at least on the court. Chaney Johnson had 20, was the KenPom MVP. This game was a perfect 8 for 8 from 2. Denver Jones had 21, hit 5 threes. This Auburn team just has so many guys that can make a difference. Tahad Pettiford had just an electric 4-point play when this game was like still kind of hanging in the balance. Sam, I'll give a quick shout out to Devin McLaughlin, who every time I turn on Vanderbilt, he just is making winning play after winning play.
Yeah, with you on that.
Kansas State.
Yeah, I wanted to get into this because there was something I tweeted a couple weeks ago when they were pounding Iowa State. I tweeted, Jerome Tang's entire coaching tenure at K-State has been one gigantic riddle, and I can't quite tell what the lesson to learn from it is. Jonathan, what the hell is the lesson to learn?
I still don't think we have an answer to that, by the way. I tweeted this literally minutes before the pod started, and I want to read it.
One of your best tweets of the year.
Kansas State from November 4th, which was the first day of the season, to January 24th, was the 95th ranked team, according to Bart Torvik. Since January 24th to current day, February 11th, February 12th, if you're on the East Coast. Happy half birthday to me on the East Coast, by the way. Kansas State's first in the entire country. And according to Torvik, since then, they've won 6 in a row. That includes wins over Arizona tonight, the rival Kansas in Manhattan last weekend, Iowa State on the road by 19, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and Arizona State on the road as well. So the Wildcats, who were essentially dead, I mean, JBR bracketology eliminated them from the NCAA tournament, at-large NCAA tournament picture, which I don't blame him for doing at all. This team looked completely dead in the water, but they have risen from the ashes here to win 6 in a row and slowly work themselves back into the at-large conversation. No doubt about it, there's still work to be done. They're 57th in KenPom right now and have 2 quad 3 losses from earlier in the season. But this is a team that's humming, playing at a high level, and it's really been a couple of things. First of all, the lineup change. Doug McDaniel moved into the starting point guard position, which I'm really not sure why he wasn't from the beginning of the season. I know he hasn't had the greatest year, but when I think Greg Waddell tweeted this earlier, when Doug McDaniel, not Doug McDermott, is focused on the right things, he is a really good point guard. And it's just Kansas State playing connected basketball. I thought CJ Jones had some really nice moments for them tonight. Coleman Hawkins had some nice moments as well. But it's really been Doug McDaniel running the show. And I think, was this the first time ever, Sam, that a team shot like 1 of 19 from 3?
Yeah, Jared Burson, the man who invented research.
Yeah. Kansas State shoots 1 of 19 from 3 and wins.
1 for 19 from 3. It's the lowest 3-point percentage by any team in a win over a ranked opponent in 9 years.
Yeah. Insane. They have played such high-level basketball over the last 2.5 weeks. And I think this is really setting up that schedule-wise, where if they can go 6-1 over these final 7 games, I counted this right. It's 7. If they can go 6-1 over these final 7 games and put themselves in position to make the NCAA tournament, and then they go on a run in the NCAA tournament, this could set up to be one of the best stories in the last, decade or so, even further in college basketball.
Agreed. And
this, by the way, wasn't like an Arizona team that's like a slouch. They had been playing very, very well.
Yeah, Arizona was 11-1 in the Big 12 coming into this.
They had lost just one time since December 15th.
By the way, huge bounce back spot coming up for them.
Mm-hmm.
Houston on Saturday at home.
Yeah, lot of big chance to prove something there for Arizona after
That's a
this
2 o'clock game? Oh, no. I wanted that to be a late night game.
What a shame. Sam, you had a tweet tonight. You said, hold on, I'm finding it real quick. Most dangerous coach in the world is one with nothing to lose. That was true of Mike Woodson tonight.
I don't even know what to say about this. Like, legitimately, I didn't watch a second of this game because I thought Michigan State would kill him.
So I did. It wasn't like Indiana was like hitting a bunch of threes or something like that. Because, that's not what Indiana does at all. Michigan State played poor. Indiana played poor. One team played poorer. And that happened to be the home team. I mean, like Indiana, I kind of wrote them off after the Woodson news came out. They battled against a good Michigan team over the weekend. And now they go to East Lansing and take down Michigan State, who this is going to be a damaging loss to their resume.
What did you tweet about Michigan State?
Oh, I'm not going to go back and find it, but this, Michigan State's schedule gets really tough here. They have Illinois on the road, Purdue at home, Michigan on the road, Maryland on the road, Wisconsin at home, Iowa on the road, Michigan at home to wrap up the season. If they don't figure something out quick here, they could lose a bunch of these games, drop to like a 7 seed, and it won't matter because they'll probably win a 75-59 game against a 10 seed and then have a 2 seed on the ropes. Like my worst fear is Michigan State is a 7 seed that has lost I don't know, 7 of their last 9, something like that, or 6 of their last 10, something like that. And they draw like Florida in the second round. A team that I'm really high on. Florida was just my example.
Yeah, Florida looked really good tonight.
Yeah, they did. No Elijah Martin for the Gators, but they get it done.
Condon goes down too.
Condon was reported only sprained his ankle, so hopefully he's back soon. Obviously, Florida's already
Thomas Hall was incredible.
16 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks for the guy who really doesn't play like a ton of minutes for Florida. That's like Todd Golden has gone with the 2 big rotation over the last 2 years. And no matter like who he has available, really. And Thomas Hall was forced to play 37 minutes tonight, and he made the absolute most of it.
I was wrong about Florida 2 years ago. I was wrong about Florida-ish last year. Like I was too high.
They got it right. They did,
but I was still too high on them. This year I was wrong about Florida. I was too low on them. And it's not like I think I ranked them the same spot, like 12, 14, 15 every year. And yet here we are. Florida is the top 3 team in the country.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I feel like it's hard to debate. Like they're not at the very lowest 4.
Auburn, Duke, Alabama, Florida,
Houston.
Houston. I guess
I love Alabama though. I love Alabama.
Yeah, I mean their resume just continues to stack upon itself.
I also just think they're really damn good.
Mm-hmm. Alabama, I think, picked up their 8th quad 1 win tonight against Texas.
Go on the road, win by 23.
And I was actually really glad that Alabama and Auburn both won tonight because I think it sets up just, an unbelievable.
That is going to be the college basketball game of the year.
College basketball game of the year between 2 programs who 6-7 years ago, I couldn't tell you if half of those fans
I
cared
couldn't
about
tell
that.
you their coach. I couldn't tell you their coaches 10 years ago.
Avery Johnson,
Okay, Avery Johnson and
family
Tony
friend of
Barbie.
the Wurzburgers. Fun fact.
Tony Barbie was the head coach at Auburn.
Oh,
Do you know where Tony Barbie is right now?
Yes, he's the coach at Central Michigan.
Do you know what their record is in the?
Oh, I know it's not good, Samuel.
They are 4-7 in the MAC.
Quite the turnaround for both of those programs, and I'm glad we kind of get to see that come together on Saturday in Tuscaloosa.
Agreed.
Other quick notes before we head out of here. Illinois, they tried really hard, but they got it done, beating UCLA at home. Mick Cronin has still yet to win a game outside.
I think
of
SMU's working its way back in the NCAA tournament picture.
Yeah, they need.
I think the bubble is bad enough,
one.
and I think they kind of swapped places with Pitt tonight. Pitt's not going to make the NCAA tournament.
Dude, Pitt's bordering on not making the NIT.
Yeah, Pitt was about a week ago, before the Virginia game, they were right, they were my last team in. They've lost 3 games in a row since. You can't, they're playing a Miami team. Hey, Miami's hot. They beat Syracuse tonight. Miami's won 2 of 3.
Miami is as hot as they were when they went to the Final Four.
Look, Pitt only has one chance at even a remotely decent win for the rest of the year, and it's at the Yum Center.
Dude, what are you talking about? They host Syracuse next week.
I think that Pitt's projected to go 10-10 in this ACC.
Pitt is going to need to win the ACC.
Do you remember when Pitt was 12th in KenPom?
Oh, do I remember it? Of course I remember it. It was
Pitt
one of the
sucks.
great times in American history. Okay, fine. It wasn't one of the greatest times in American history.
His team was 12-2 going into Cameron Indoor Stadium, and then didn't score for the last 12 minutes of that game.
Yeah, they kind of got punked. So,
yeah, I mean they got dunked on literally.
Yes, they did. Specifically,
You were at that game.
I was. That's correct. The Cooper Flag dunk happened probably 30, 40 feet from me.
It killed Pitt's season.
It did. It really did.
SMU now 19-5. I think they're probably in the tournament if the season ended today.
Yeah, I think that SMU just needs a good win, a singular good win. They don't have a quad 1 win this year.
And they'll have a couple opportunities. Clemson at home, Stanford away might be, Florida State away might be, and they probably get a chance in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, that'll be big for them. Iowa State went to UCF, won by 12. Game was never really in the balance in the second.
Oh, just want to say Semet Yagitoglu for SMU tonight.
KenPom MVP.
17-10-3.
KenPom MVP.
Yeah, double digit scoring performances in each of the last 7 for him.
BYU and Cincinnati both got huge wins tonight for their bubble cases. Cincinnati is obviously further behind than BYU and working their way back in to the bubble picture, but BYU got some huge contributions from freshmen. Igor Demon had 16 points, and then Sam, you were watching this game. You tweeted a couple times about another freshman for BYU.
Yeah, Mihailo Boskovich had 2. He had 5 points in this game, but they were a 3 that gave BYU the lead in the second half after trailing for most of the game, and then a key and 1 that put them up by 4 in the final seconds. So Mihailo Boskovich was awesome. He played 9 minutes and he had 6 points, but it was he won them this game.
One more thing from me. If you know the name Cam Kraft, He was a former Xavier player, committed there out of high school, was a borderline like top 50 kid, I want to say. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but regardless, very good high school player. Played probably 20 minutes from me at Buffalo Grove High School for a lot of his high school career. He had 40 tonight for Miami, Ohio. Hit 9 threes. It was a huge win for the Red Hawks too, as they knocked off Toledo 92-80. Toledo kind of fought their way back the last like 10-ish minutes of the game to make that look closer. But Cam Kraft's 40 points kind of shut the door. And Miami, Ohio now 10-1 in the conference. They already have that loss to Akron, obviously, and Akron is almost certainly the better team between the two. But Miami, Ohio keeping pace for a chance to win that conference. I apologize if it offended you that I talked about the other MAC.
What did you say?
I apologize for offending you for talking about the other MAC.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. I would like to shout out Fat Hill, I think is his name, on Ball State for a game-winning poster.
Oh, I did not see this.
I will send it to you. But he drove the lane in a tie game and postered a dude with 5 seconds left.
Yeah, I need to see this.
Twitter.
Actually, I don't know why I said last thing. I have a couple more things. I didn't watch Kansas, Colorado, nor do I think it's that important.
By the way, the Cam Kraft stat line is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he had 1 assist?
0 assists.
0 assists, 1 rebound.
Yep.
Dude, that's Cam Kraft. When my brother was a sophomore, he's the same age as Cam, and they went to Buffalo Grove and played against them, and we were winning the entire game, and I think Kraft hit a 3 or a tough shot to force overtime, and then he scored he had been quiet all night, and then he scored 12 points in overtime, something like that. He is a microwave scorer.
All right, finish quickly.
Yeah, so I think a couple of things from me.
Please no Valley update.
What'd you say?
Please no Valley update.
No Valley update. Kansas didn't watch them tonight, but every single tweet from Kansas people I saw tonight was the effort is really bad right now, and that's concerning. They have a chance to go kind of figure this out on this mountain road trip. Chance to get one I should say impressive win, and then another road win, which these days for Kansas is tough to come by. So it seems like,
yeah, I
don't want to call it culture problems, but there needs to be a shift in attitude, I'd say, for the Jayhawks. And then the last thing, we got the greatest collab in college basketball history tonight. Fanta and Crean on the call for
yes,
Marquette.
It was great. It was excellent. I did not listen.
Cole Adams was all over this. I didn't listen, but I just heard it was fantastic.
Penn State is completely.
They've quit with a capital Q.
They are. Penn State was 12-2. They are 1-10 in their last 11.
If you think
they lost by 25 today at USC, who is another team that I feel like they are there.
They can work their way back.
I don't know if they can make the tournament without a big run in the Big Ten tournament, but I think they can make a big run in the Big Ten tournament. They're good enough.
I feel like all their games remaining, except for that Maryland game, are very winnable.
All right, Jonathan.
You want to take us home, Sam?
If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about Kirk Queth, you came to the right place.
Dude, legend. Shout out David Campbell.
And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This is season 5, episode 62 of Practice Bubbles and Pitch Steelers. For Jonathan Linskin, I am Sam Fetterman. We will see you Thursday night.